Maternal health care remains one of the most crucial health rights for pregnant women. A life may be born, but death may occur. In other instances, lifelong scars may result due to lack of or unavailability of maternal care. Now imagine a situation where a woman or young girl has no access to maternal health care. This, of course, coupled with traditional and religious beliefs, continue to see a significant number of women fall victim to obstetric fistula. My name is Nonhlanhla Ngwenya, and I'm on a journey to demystify obstetric fistula. So, in my quest to find out more about obstetric fistula, I'm on my way to meet Dr. Lucy Godongwe, who is the Deputy Director, Reproductive Health with the Ministry of Health and Childcare. Let's go. Dr. Lucy, I'm on a quest. I want to find out what obstetric fistula is, what causes it, and why so many myths around this health condition that affects pregnant women.
Obstetric fistula is a communication between the genital tract and the bladder. It has got different types. The one that communicates with the bladder, the urethra, the rectum. The one that communicates with the bladder is called a vesico-vaginal fistula. The one that communicates with the urethra is the urethro-vaginal fistula. And then the recto-vaginal fistula is the one that is communicating with the rectum. Rarely we also get the uretero-vaginal fistula. So these are the different types of the obstetric fistulas that we get. And we get them as a result of obstructed labor, that is blocked labor, or prolonged labor, where the baby is not able to go through the pelvis for it to come out. Or it's because the pelvis itself has got problems. The pelvis might have some malformations. Remember, malnutrition, the pelvis might not be fully developed in young ladies.
Hanzvadzi yangu yakasangana nedambudziko rekubuda weight yabva mukuzvara. Hanzvadzi yangu iyi yakaroorwa ine 19 years.
You see when you go around and look for the causes of this obstetric fistula that teenage mothers are also involved. So the baby might be stuck for days, and that will result in blockage of blood supply to either of the organs that I have mentioned, the bladder, the urethra, the rectum. So when there is loss of blood supply, there is death of the tissue that is trapped between that organ and the birth canal. So when there's death of that tissue, it's called ischemia. Then that tissue will slough off, and there is a hole that is left between that organ and the birth canal. Therefore, if there is communication between the bladder and the genital tract, or the genital tract and the rectum, there will be continuous flow of urine or continuous flow of fecal matter if there is communication with the rectum.
Wakaita zvokukwebwa mwana uyu aita zvokukwebwa kudando pakabva dambudziko racho. Ndakazogara for 3-4 here handichazivi. Saka ndopandatanga kungozobuda mvura ndisinganzwi kuti ndoda kuweta, asi kuti inongobuda.
So there will be an unpleasant smell around that woman. She will end up feeling very uncomfortable, and obviously the people around here wouldn't like the odor that is coming out. So they tend to go to a secluded place where they are alone and where there is no one with them. So they are actually sort of being cast out in the community. You know, even from a long time ago, whenever there is a delay in labor, it's either the mother has told some lies or she's hiding something from the family. So They also think it's associated with witchcraft, that the mother who has failed to give birth is a witch.
Wangu nkwasha wakarora hanzvadzi yangu iyi akazonditi iye tsano zviri nani mutore hanzvadzi yenyu nemhaka yekuti kurwara kwaari kuita kwakonzerwa nedambudziko remufamily menyu. Ari kureva kuti mufamily medu isusu ndio maita urombwa hunoita kuti uyu abude weight.
So these are the myths that surround these obstetric fistulas. But actually, it's not because of that. It's only because the baby might be very big, that it cannot pass through the pelvis, or the baby might not be lying normally, the head first, or the cephalic presentation that we expect. Is solely a medical condition that can actually be prevented, and it can be treated surgically.
Next stop on my quest to find out more about obstetric fistula is Amnesty International. Amnesty International has been very instrumental. Actually, they are the reason why I decided to embark on this journey. So, I'd like to understand something. What is Amnesty's drive behind obstetric fistula, behind taking this issue out there and, doing the work that you've done?
Amnesty International is a human rights campaigning organization. Mm-hmm. We campaign for the protection of human rights of all people. Doesn't matter where you are. With fistula, it's something that came up actually when we did another report, I think around 2017, Lost Without Knowledge. Which was looking at access to sexual and reproductive health rights for adolescents in Zimbabwe. Okay. And we realized that actually a lot of the young women were also victims of this condition, obstetric fistula. Okay. And we decided, no, look, I think there is actually a justification to do a second research as a follow-up. This time focusing mainly on fistula, which is really a debilitating condition. So for us, it's an issue of access to health. It's an issue of access to sexual and reproductive health rights during pregnancy. Yeah. It's a dignity issue. It's a dignity issue because when you have fistula, your dignity is affected because of the discrimination that you then suffer, the marginalization, the stigma, this incontinence whereby you are just leaking urine and fecal matter involuntarily, and you start smelling, and then people start avoiding you. Your dignity is really affected terribly, and then we want this to stop. We want to try and prevent this. Those myths and prejudices, they sort of constitute what is noted as barriers to prevention of fistula. For instance, people think that it's as a result of witchcraft. When we have this condition and you are now smelling and so on and so on, people don't understand it. How are you smelling? Even one's own husband will start saying, "Oh, look, there's something wrong with you," and ending up in divorce. We came up with stories where a husband ended up divorcing, the wife because of that, and then the community itself begins to shun you, other women in the community, to say maybe you were bewitched. But it's not witchcraft. It's simply a medical condition, and it's something that can be corrected through surgical operation. Some of the things have something to do with religious beliefs. Certain religious sects do not believe in medical treatment. The preference is to have home deliveries. Yeah. And these home deliveries, sometimes maybe there isn't a trained midwife or a nurse to assist. In the event of complications like delayed labor or obstructed labor. And then people end up getting injured, and then they get this fistula, and which they then struggle with in life. And also another practice, which I think for us we noticed has also contributed to the numbers of people, women suffering from obstetric fistulas, early child marriages. Certain religious sects are also doing this, where children are, become the fourth, fifth wife. Wow. At a very young age, maybe 15, 14, and this is actually a crime. We know of a case of a young girl aged 10 who was married off to this rich man who had already 5 wives. I mean, when she then fell pregnant when she was a teenager, the child, died because of obstructed labor, and she got fistula. In one incident, a young girl, they had to use a mortar and pestle, to get her to deliver forcefully, and the girl ended up again developing a hole, between a anal canal and her vagina, leading to again fistula. So you can see these practices, the cultures that are harmful, the early marriages. These are some of the things that have really contributed to fistula.